Hello and welcome to a special lecture series on the principles of microeconomics. In this series, we will deal with introductory microeconomics and intermediate microeconomics. So before we start, I will just give you a comprehensive sense of what the course outline will look like. So as you can see, I will give you a sense of what economics is and what are the different branches of it per se. In this course, I will be dealing with the two broader sense in which we teach economics. One is the microeconomics and the other is macroeconomics. Then we move to a very important concept in microeconomics, which is called as the consumer theory. In that you have something called as utility or satisfaction, how it is measured, what are the different approaches to measuring utility. Then we have something called as the indifference curve analysis. The indifference curve analysis, again in this we'll look at what are indifference curve, what are the properties of indifference curves. Then we'll move towards something called as consumer's equilibrium. Also I will introduce you, when we talk about indifference curve, into something called as budget constraints or budget line, which is very popular in textbooks. Then we'll move to something called as consumer's equilibrium, how consumer will equilibrate given the limited budget which he has and also the given price of the commodities which he or she wants to purchase. Then we move towards something called as the theory of production. Now theory of production particularly deals with something called as factors of production. I'll give you a sense of what factors of production are in this lecture itself, and also I'll give you a sense of what factor payments are or remuneration for each factor is known as. In this, the theory of production, I will give you a sense of what production function is. There are different types of it. One is homogeneous production function, the other is constant elasticity of substitution production function, Cobb-Douglas production function. In that you will have to deal with little mathematics, which is the school algebra which is required. Then we move towards something called as returns to scale and returns to a factor, law of variable proportions and stuff like that. You must have heard about it. So we'll deal with that in a very comprehensive sense under the theory of production. Then we move towards something which is very important as far as economic analysis is concerned, that is microeconomic analysis, that is called as markets. So in markets we will look at what are the different types of markets. For example, say monopoly, free monopoly, then you have perfect competition, then you have oligopoly, duopoly, and what are the different features of such markets. Then also the equilibriums in such markets, what will be the short run and long run equilibriums and stuff like that. Then we move towards something called as which will give you a hang of markets in a very detailed sense, which is called as the cost curves of different markets, and also the revenue, the concepts of revenue as well. So here I will be talking more about costs as well as revenue. So the average revenue curves, the marginal revenue curve, the total revenue curve, how they behave and stuff like that. Then we move to, in a very brief or comprehensive sense, about something which is very important as far as the new economics is concerned, which is welfare economics. In that we'll see what is the contribution of Professor Amartya Sen, as well as we'll look at what are the Pareto optimality conditions and stuff like that. So this will be the course outline for this lecture series. Similarly, on the same background and stuff like that, I will be making one more series for international economics, both international trade as well as finance. Then I'll be making a series on macroeconomics, growth and development. So please stay tuned if at all you are interested in learning economics and its branches. So I hope this will suffice the need of students who are studying for bachelor's degree and master's degree. In a sense, if at all I am dealing with these concepts in greater details, at an advanced level, I will always make sure that I inform you well in advance in the lecture itself. So the students who are at bachelor's level can opt for it. If they are interested, they can opt out or opt in. Both the conditions are true. So I hope this is the course outline and it is pretty much clear. Now, given the background of what this course will be talking about over the next few lectures, let us come to something called as what is economics, because this is very important. This has been taught by many professors across the nation with the help of different definitions. So today I have a definition given by Lionel Robbins in 1932. So it says that economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. Now I hope there are three important words which we have to focus here. One is human behavior. Yeah, what economics is doing? Economics is studying this, studying human behavior given scarce resources or means, whatever you call it, or means to meet different ends. Yeah, different ends. Now human behavior particularly boils down to economic agents. Yeah, economic agents are of two different types. One is the individual, yeah, and the other is firm. I hope the firms are, human beings are part of firms, so hence it is obviously even an individual is a human being. So effectively everything boils down to something called as human behavior. So economics, what economics is doing, or economics is studying human behavior given scarce or limited resources to meet certain ends. Yeah, an individual may be trying to figure out his consumption decisions, whereas firms are looking at something called as production decisions. Yeah, so now how a consumer or how an individual will look at his consumption basket is studied under economics, vis-a-vis how a producer or a firm is looking at his production decisions is also studied under economics. So economics is giving you a sense of human behavior given there are scarce resources to meet certain ends. I've given you an example of how individuals as well as firms, which are economic agents, will use different decisions or will frame out their decisions with respect to consumption and production, and these decisions are studied by economics. Yeah, what is the underlying conditions or underlying ways in which they will try to consume or produce certain goods and services. Yeah, so I hope this is pretty much clear what economics is doing. This definition is given by Lionel Robbins. You can probably find some other definitions in good textbooks which we have. Yeah, so this is what economics is doing. Now let us look at what are the different branches in economics, because that is very much important. Now if at all you see a standard textbook, you will see that there are n number of branches in economics, but effectively these are the two very important branches of economics which you should be knowing, whether you know international economics, whether you know development economics, growth and development and stuff like that, or welfare economics or labor economics. But if at all you want to understand economics on a very comprehensive sense, you should be knowing something called as microeconomics, and the other concept is macroeconomics. Yeah, now these are Greek words. Yeah, these are Greek words, macro as well as micro. This means small, this means big, and the original words which are from Greek are macros and micros. So these are the original words from Greek. These are the English words micro and macro. Yeah, whenever it is at a smaller level, when the economic analysis is at smaller levels, it is called as microeconomics. The study is called as microeconomics. When it is at larger comprehensive level, it is called as macroeconomics. So I hope the idea of what micro and macro are doing is pretty much clear. Now I'll explain it to you with the help of an example, but it was just a comprehensive sense of it. Now let us look at something called as cell phone industry. Yeah, cell phone industry. So the number of players which are there in this industry are, let us say, Samsung. Yeah. Next is Oppo. Next is Apple and Nokia. Yeah. Then there's probably some other X. Yeah. So now these are different firms which constitute the entire cell phone industry. Now if at all I want to study about revenue, if at all I want to study about revenue of an individual, I have to call that microeconomics. When I am going to study about the revenue of the end of all the number of firms which are there, which you call industry, then I am looking at macro. So here what I am trying to do is, under microeconomics, I am trying to figure out about individual units. These individual units can be A, firm, B, household, yeah, single household. When I am trying to look at it on a very aggregative level or a comprehensive level, then here I'll be studying about the entire industry. Here I'll be talking about national level. Yeah. So when I talk about households income, that study is called as micro level study. When I talk about national income, that means it is a macro, it is aggregates. Yeah. So this can be total output or national income or gross domestic product, or we call anything. I mean, there are so many national aggregates. Yeah. General price level, these are all macro concepts. So I hope the difference or the distinction between macro and micro is pretty much clear. In the later lectures we'll be dealing more in this lecture series, I'll be dealing more with microeconomics, and in the later lecture series I'll be doing more about macroeconomics. So I hope this is pretty much clear what macro and micro is and deals with. Now, given this, I want to introduce you to something called as factors of production, which are very much important. So let us look at factors of production. Yeah, factors of production. So the first factor, as you all must be knowing, this is there in the intermediate microeconomics, which is taught in class 12th or A levels, if at all you have studied from an IB curriculum school. So this is called as land. Yeah. The other factor is labor. The third factor is capital, and the fourth is entrepreneur. Yeah. When I talk about capital, I mean both money as well as machinery. Yeah, money as well as machinery. Capital means both of them. Yeah. So I hope the factors of production are pretty much clear. Now, since we have factors of production which will be used obviously in production or the process of production, I have to make sure that I pay certain remunerations to them. This is called as factor payments. So for land, what I'll be doing? I'll be paying rent. For labor, what I'll be doing? I'll be paying wages or salary, whatever you call it. Yeah, wage is a very good term which is effectively used in economic analysis. Capital, what I'll be paying? For capital, interests. Yeah, I'll be paying rate of interest or rate of return, which you call. And for entrepreneurs, he or she will be rewarded with the help of profits. In economics, profits are denoted by pi. Yeah, in economics, profits are denoted by pi. So I hope factors of production which are very important for the process of production are pretty much clear. They are land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. Capital can be both money as well as machinery. Yeah, and there is something called as these now: rent, wages, profits and rate of interest. Rate of interest is always denoted by small letter r. Yeah, rate of interest. So all these are called as factor payments. These are called as factor payments or remunerations, whatever you like, you can use the terms. Yeah, they are synonymous. So I hope this is pretty much clear. So I hope that the introductory lecture gave you a sense of what I'm going to deal with and the teaching style which I'll be using. Yeah. So we started with something called as, I'll just sum it up. This is it from my side for today's lecture. So what we initially started with is I gave you a course outline. Yeah, I gave you a course outline what this course will be like in the subsequent lectures. Then we moved towards something called as the definition of economics per se. Then we moved towards the major branches. There are many more branches of economics, but we'll deal with that subsequently. Yeah, in a different lecture series altogether. Yeah. So here this is particularly related to micro, but I still gave you a sense of what micro means, what macro means. We dealt with an example of the cell phone industry and also the different firms which are there. Whenever it is at an individual level or individual unit, it is called as micro. Whenever it is at national level or aggregated levels, then it is called as macro. Then I gave you a sense of what are factors of production in economics. These are land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. And also something called as factor payments. What will be the remuneration which you will be giving if at all I am using these in various combinations. Yeah, in various combinations. For example, I will be using 10 units of land and 5 units of labor, and capital will be, for example, say 12 units, entrepreneur maybe 2 units, different combinations of these factors. Yeah, and then I'll be getting something called as the final products, that these final products can be either goods or services and services. Yeah, it can be either and or. Yeah, either and or. So I hope this is pretty much clear. Thank you so much.